Hello everyone. I believe that God is wanting me to share the call that's coming from his heart and going out into the whole earth right now. It's always been going out, but it seems particularly loud right now, very passionate right now from the heart of God. And so I want to share it. In the Bible, let me back up a little bit. God is calling people to his heart. We all know this. He's calling people to seek him. And I want to say first that what this looks like is going to be different for each person. So no matter who you are, don't look at how other people are spending time with God and think that your time with God has to look like them. Don't allow condemnation from the enemy to make you feel like you can never spend the time with God that you should, because your life doesn't allow you to spend 5 hours a day with God, or spend an hour in the day first thing in the morning because you have little babies that wake up at the crack of dawn, or whatever it happens to look like. God knows what each one of our lives looks like, because that's part of his plan for us. But in that plan, he has very special for each one of us. He has special times that he's calling us to step away from this or that and spend time with him. So for some people that might be hours a day, because he has created their life in such a way that they can do that, and he's wanting them to do that, and they need to. And for other people, he's created a life for them that doesn't allow for hours and hours and hours every day, but it allows for 3 minutes here and 3 minutes there and 3 minutes here. And he's calling them to give him those 3 minutes here and there, because he is going to do absolute amazing, miraculous things in those little 3-minute increments. So it's going to be different for each person, but I believe each one of us, if we search our hearts right now, we will hear the call of God in our life tapping on one area here, one thing there, one thing here, that we're giving our time and attention to other things. And he's saying, set that aside right now and give me this time instead. Make room for me in your life right here. So wherever you are, whoever you are, do that. Just become conscious of that. Stop and listen. Wait a minute. It doesn't matter what other people's lives look like. And it doesn't really even matter so much how absolutely crazy my life is right now. Ask him and look and see what, small or big, whichever it is, part of your life he's tapping a little finger on, saying, this right here, give me this time instead. Because this is what he's calling right now. And the parable that he keeps bringing to mind over and over again is in Luke, I think it was chapter 14. Jesus talks about the parable of a feast, of a banquet. Now, this, I don't believe, is a banquet that represents the end time when Jesus came back. I believe this is the banquet that God gives in the presence of our enemies, that Psalm 23 talks about. This banquet represents all of the riches of revelation and peace and joy and glory and power and everything, the fullness of Christ that God wants to give us. That's what this banquet represents. And in that parable, Jesus sent the servants out to call those who were invited to come, and a whole bunch of the people had excuses. And for me, if you sum up those excuses, it's very much like the reasons that I keep hearing people say today. It's hard to find time. I've got this to do, I've got that to do, I've got this to do. They didn't have time to come and go to that banquet, to feast at that banquet in that private time with God. And so that in the story, in the parable, God then said, okay, in that case, he told the servants, go out and invite anyone from the highways, byways, the ditches, the sides of the road, anyone you could find, invite them to come so that my banquet will be appreciated and my house will be full. So in this parable, there were 3 groups of people. And I want you to search your heart as to which of those groups of people you are. The first group of people are those who were their servants. They were serving God. And this doesn't mean they were just serving him by going to church on Sundays or serving him by giving money to the church. God looks at the heart. So these are people who were serving him in their heart, that their heart from their innermost being was to serve God and do whatever he was calling them to do, whether it was staying home and taking care of the kids, whether it was reaching out to somebody in a grocery store, or whether it was doing something far beyond their wildest dreams that God said just do it, or being willing to do something that maybe God wasn't going to actually ask them to do it. He was just asking if they were willing. Anyway, that first group of people were the people who were his servants. The second group of people in the parable were the people who were invited, but who said they were too busy. And those are the people that there's a lot of them now, and some of us who are servants now were those too busy people in our past. But it's never too late. That's the good thing. The parable was a snapshot in time, but it's not too late. It won't be too late until the end comes. Because in a different parable, God and Jesus showed how even those who become the servants of the king in the last hour still receive full payment. So it's not too late. If you look at yourself and you know you are one of those who's been telling God, I'm too busy, it's not too late to say, okay, God, I'm coming to the banquet. Show me how, by your grace, minute by minute, second by second, I'm coming to the banquet. And I believe those that do answer the call and come, he takes them at that banquet, he fills them up to overflowing, and they become his servants, and they join the first group. And then finally, there's the third group of people, who are the people who didn't even know they were called until they first called. They're people who didn't grow up knowing anything truly about the fact that there was a banquet. Maybe they knew there was a king or the owner of the castle. They maybe vaguely knew something existed, but they certainly didn't think it was for them until the servants went and called them and they came. So maybe some of you are feeling like life is empty and worthless and you're not chosen and it's not for you. So I'm going to tell you, if you're watching this video, then it's because God is calling you and you are chosen and you are invited to come to the banquet in his presence. Just say, God, all right, here I am. Show me who you really are. So that's the message. That's the call of God that's in my heart right now. That's what I feel him saying he wanted me to share. And I pray that whoever sees this, whenever they see it, that God will speak to your heart. Whatever the thing is that he needs you to hear, whether it's conviction, whether it's promise and hope, whether it's confirmation, seek him and find him, because he's got a banquet that's available for you. God bless.